Hi, I'm Nathan. Welcome to the channel and welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone had a good Christmas and New Year's. I certainly did, and I had a busy one as my son Jonathan was 7 on 23rd December and my partner gave birth to our second son Jensen on New Year's Eve. I'm now 5 subscribers off 800. Thank you very much to the people who subscribed. This video is about, I've just purchased a 63 plate Volkswagen Polo for my partner. I got it from COPART in Scotland. Also in the video I've done a quick little update on the Volkswagen Up. It's been hard to do content and work on the vehicle because it was tier 3 in Peterborough and then it went to national lockdown. As I don't keep the cars at my house, I can't really go work on them. So as I've sold my missus' first car, which was the little Ibiza, I've now got the Polo recovered home. Once the Polo gets sent to the body shop, I'll then get the Up recovered home so I can start working on that and doing some videos. Quick update on the Up. As, about a month ago, Peterborough was tier 3. So I couldn't really do much on this car. I've got half a video already made up. It's all panelled up, all the suspension's done. Got brand new Continental tyre to match the rest, as it's pretty much a brand new car, 3,000 miles. I don't do part ones, can't stand them. Mid-November, I bought my partner a Volkswagen Up 63 plate, 40,000 miles from Scotland COPART. As our first car was a little 3-door 1.6 diesel Ibiza, which I bought 2 years ago from COPART. Reason I need a 5-door, my partner's just had our second son on New Year's Eve. So the plan is to get this recovered to my house so I can start rebuilding it. And then once that gets sent to the body shop, I will then pick up the Up. Recovery truck's here now. As you can see, the Polo's now gone to my house. Just come back in the Mr. Ibiza. Going to use that to take the parts that I've removed off the car, for example like the bumper. I've already got a brand new bumper, but the grille, middle grille, the passenger fog light and the fog light grille, it's all perfect. So I thought, come in the Ibiza. I washed my car yesterday, so I ain't bringing that. But yeah, on the Up, like I was trying to say earlier, it is all panelled up. The last touches I've got to do is, I've just got to do the alignment. They're not bad, I ran the headlights and etc. But yeah, like I say, I'll start videoing this Polo. Once I get that done and sent to the body shop, I'll get this one collected and sent to my house. And then get some more cars bought. Because normally last year, January, I think I had about 3 or 4 cars. Then lockdown happened. And they just got parked up till about June time. So I'm glad this time I've only got a couple of cars at the minute. So but yeah, let's get all this put in the car and go back to mine. So the little Polo's back at my house now. I'll just show you what I have done already and what needs to be done. So the car's a 2014 Volkswagen Up 1.2. It's a category S. I purchased it from Scotland COPART back in November. Chassis leg straight. There was a bit of damage in this area which I've straightened up. The body shop will finish that off and paint it. Reason it was a Cat S, I called this piece of the chassis leg the hand, as it's the end of the chassis leg. It had a slight kink in this area, which I'll show you on pictures how it was previously. So I just straightened it up. Brand new crash bar, fitted with ease. New front panel. These pieces are the original, didn't get damaged. The condenser is the original, didn't get damaged. The fan pack is the original. The radiator I had to change as the end tank got damaged from the front panel. So the suspension wise, that's not, the wheel is turned, just so I can show you now. If you can see, the tie rod is bent, so I'll be replacing the tie rod, track rod end, the shock, spring and top mount, drive shaft. The car does run, but the drive shaft has broke from the inner CV joint that bolts to the gearbox flange. So if you start it up, try and move the car in gear, The flange will move, but the driveshaft won't. So I've got a second-hand driveshaft to put on it. Once I've done all the suspension, I'll then be washing the car before I panel it up, as there's green moss growing everywhere. Yeah, it's quite filthy. It was when it come in November, so it's not just in 2 months. Inside the car, battery's off, it's on charge. 40,000 miles, got a few nice options. Cruise control. It's got this original Volkswagen Bluetooth, which I guess retrofitted or bought from Volkswagen as an extra, so you can stream your music. Cooled airbox, tyre pressure monitoring system. But I will be changing this radio system anyway for the, I think it's called RCD 330, the Apple CarPlay. So let's get the car jacked up, put on axle stand, and start stripping the suspension down. So here's some photos when I first received the car from COPART. The car didn't look any different at all compared to the COPART photos, so luckily no hidden damage. I then put the car on the drive, start tearing it down. So on these Mark 5 Polos, to remove the wing, unfortunately you've got to remove the bonnet. The reason why is because when you open the bonnet, the corner towards the A-pillar, it then covers a bolt for the wing. Bit of a pain, but it's one of those things. Now you'll see the original front panel, it's damaged in the front middle, and then on the side of the front panel, which then damaged the radiator. So that's all the front removed. Right, the chassis leg was straight. It was just the end, what I call the hand, was damaged, as you can see on the corner. So that's straightened out. There's the brand new front crash bar, fitted, no problems at all. So there's the brand new front panel, getting ready to install. That's fully installed now with the brand new radiator, original condenser and fan. And that's where I got finished with the car. Then I started working on it again when I started recording. Just before I jack the car up and put on extra stands. Battery's back on the vehicle. Just blow up the cooling system. Blow it fine, heater's all nice and hot. And now check the aircon. Fan operating as it should when the aircon's on. Like I previously stated, the condenser never got damaged. Obviously you can't feel it, but just take my word, it is cold. Let's get it jacked up and put on extra stand. So I've just been to my local Halfords, as I can't find my 36mm socket anywhere for the hub nut on the driveshaft. Get a couple of spanners. Right, so the Audi, I've done 6,500 miles since it's been back on the road. When was it? About September time I fit some big brakes. So I got brand new Porsche Brembo calipers, the 4-pot. The originals were 320mm discs with a single piston caliper. Now it's obviously 4 pistons, 345mm discs. Polo DS2500 pads all the way round, hell braided lines, ATE Type 200.4 racing fluid. The rears I've got SQ5 calipers and carriers. The originals was 300mm disc solid, now they're 330 vented. I did all that because then the car went to Bobby at BSR. In my eyes, the king of tuning 3-litre TDIs. I'll leave a link in the description to what got done to my car, what it produced, and I'll tell you what, it's amazing how this car is driving now. Let's get back home and cracking on with the Polo. Right, little schoolboy error. It's a 6-point socket. It should be a multi-point. They don't stock them here. Luckily Euros has got one in stock, I think about tenner. So hopefully then we can get cracking on. Oh, for once, Euro car parts saved the day. 36mm multi-point socket. Let's get home. What I'm doing now, I've removed the pinch bolt from the hub. I've started to free off the shock from the hub. Shock doesn't look damaged or bent, but when I won the car, before it got delivered, I ordered all the suspension parts, so I might as well just install them. Better to be safe than sorry. So I'm going to remove the track end now from the hub, then the wishbone with the ball joint, so I can get the hub off the shock. So I've just jacked up the disc slightly, nowhere near the disc guard. I don't want to jack it up too much because then the hub's going to go back onto the shock. Reason I've done that is so the ball joint does not spin, so I can just get the nut off, as you can see. So I've now got the hub off the shock, the wishbone's off. I just cut the tracker end off. It chewed up a little bit wherever the nut is on top, where you put the I think it's 6mm Allen key out. Here it is. Just chewed up a little bit, so just chop it off. It's getting replaced anyway. Get the Driveshaft off now. Right, daylight's growing today, so to get to that top mount, you remove, once you've removed the window wipers, you can't mix them up. The longest one, the biggest one's always the driver's side. Once you remove this, you can then get to the cover will just come off. So I say, it's hard one-handed. Now I can get to the nut. Right, so I'm just going to undo the nut on the shock. Now that's the old shock. Now all the suspension's all removed, you'll get a clearer idea what I was trying to explain. So here's the Driveshaft. You can see the CV joint bolts up to the gearbox, and that where those bolts are, that should spin with the Driveshaft. And if you see, it's not. Right, so what I'm doing now, I'm just undoing the Driveshaft from the gearbox. It's size 8 multi-spline, so I'll just get that removed now. All the bolts holding the Driveshaft onto the gearbox are now removed, so it should just pull off. There you go, a bit of force. As you can see, it's had it. Right, so the only thing I've got to do now all the rest of the suspension's all stripped off. The only thing I've got to do now, I'm still going to be using the steering rack gator. So I'm just going to count the threads on here, so I know how many to do on the new one, just as a temporary till I get the car tracked. So once I count them, I can remove this to get the boot off, then I can get the tie rod undone from the steering rack. Right, so what I've done, I've started the car up, turned the steering all the way to the left, which brings this side of the steering rack out, so I can get a 32mm spanner on the tie rod. I'll just try and zoom up, just on this area here on the end. Sorry about the engine noise. Right, so I've got the spanner on. Just try and do this one-handed. Gloves are on today. Right, that's the old one off. So now I can start assembling all the suspension back on. Right, so that's the old Driveshaft at the top. As obviously it's broken from the inner CV joint. And here's the replacement. I think I paid £35 delivered, bargain. All the CV boots are fine, no splits, all soft, not hard. And the inner one as well, spot on. This and the headlight will be the only second-hand part I'm fitting onto the car. All the rest are brand new. And once I've installed Driveshaft and torqued it all up, I'll then show you with the new parts how I managed to get the same part numbers with the car not being here yet. So I'll show you the software and how I cross-reference part numbers, etc. Might help some of you guys out to get cheap, good quality parts. Just going to quickly show you how I get all my genuine part numbers. Also, if you're wondering why I've got a plaster here, my partner's one of those people that thinks people's watching. So this system here is called PART1 24. It's not a free service. You can either do that, for example, 1 day or one month, or a yearly monthly subscription. So it works by the VIN number. So for example, if I go onto COPART, here's the vehicle. You'll see how much I paid for it as well. I paid 2,200 plus fees. A little bit high price, but COPART at the minute is stupid prices. So I'm going to copy, I'm doing this one-handed while holding my phone. So I'm going to copy the VIN number, go back to PART1, click Volkswagen, paste. Right, the good thing about PART1 as well, you've got all the build date, your engine code, your gearbox, your paint code. So for example, I'll just do a demonstration. So if I'm going to go, for example, front shock absorber. So I'll scroll down to front shock absorber, because there might be options. I don't know, for example, say if you're a car parts, you looked on the website, brake pads or discs for your car, there's 2 different size options. With this, you can find out the size, or for example, a shock, there might be 2 different size shocks. So the shock absorber is number 10. Click number 10. It will even show you the retail price at Volkswagen. So the retail on the shock absorber is £86.61p plus VAT. That's a retail price. So what I do now, I copy the part number. That's what's installed to the Polo. I use a few softwares. For example, on this video I use Autodoc. Copy that and paste that part number, and that will show you brands. I don't normally use cheap, so I either use, for example, like Saks, KYB, Monroe. So, and that will be the KYB part number. Autodoc is great, but unfortunately you do have to wait a week to 2 weeks for the parts to come, as they come from Germany. But for example, say if you're doing brake disc and pads, or you know your car's due them fairly soon, you can order them here at a fraction of the price. Probably the price on here is what you'll get a cheaper brand at a motor factor parts shop, a local one to yourself. But with PART1, why it's great for myself, for example, if I've just won a car on COPART today, I don't know, all the way in Scotland again, I wouldn't get that car brought to me for a day or 2. So the parts that are obvious that I needed, for example, suspension parts, I can quickly go on here, check all the part numbers and quickly order all the parts. Or for example, like a headlight. On these newer cars, there's so many versions of headlights, LED, xenon, etc. You can quickly get the part number. You can put the part number onto eBay or Autodoc and quickly order all the parts. One last bit of advice. So each car I purchase off COPART or other auctions, this is where I buy the manuals for each car. So they're dealer quality service manuals. So this is where I get all my torque specs, etc. The downloadable versions for $14.99. And I think they've got nearly the majority of every car on this website. One thing I forgot to mention. So this is a top mount kit from Febi for the Volkswagen Polo. Febi is a great German brand, OE quality or OEM parts in the box, just with the part numbers ground off. So Febi do a top mount for the Polo. You can just buy, one second, sorry. You can just buy the rubber donut on its own, or a bearing on its own, or these two together, or they offer a kit where you get the nut for the top of the shock and a new pinch bolt for the hub and the shock absorber. So I've now installed the brand new top mount and spring to the brand new shock absorber. The only thing I've used off the original shock is the dust boot cover. And just to let you know, the piston was bent on the original shock. So I've now fitted the shock to the hub. It's all bolted in, taut to spec. It's a brand new pinch bolt. I have noticed as well, I won't be doing this in this video, the disc has got a massive old lip on that. So I'll be fitting brand new disc and pads to this car as well. So I'll now get this fitted to the car. Right, so this piece here, that goes in the strut tower. And then when you put the shock through, you nut that down. As you can see, that's damaged. Luckily, I keep a lot of parts in stock for the ups, because I do quite a few Volkswagen ups. So I've got a brand new one here, and luckily, if we can see, it's the same part number. So I ain't got to go TPS or Volkswagen. I've got one already here. And Driveshaft, the new second-hand one didn't come with the ABS ring. So I've just got to put that onto the one before I put the shock and hub on. Now the shock and hub's attached to the vehicle, I've got a brand new Wishbone to put on. It's a brand called First Line. The Wishbone can either come with or without the ball joint. I've gone for the one with. Can't get out of the bag, sorry. First Line is a good brand. They also have a cheaper version of First Line called COPART. It's normally wheel bearings, etc. But personally, I would stay away from there and just go First Line. Right, it has got dark now. I've just put the cowling back on with the window wipers. Everything's all bolted up, tightened up, taut to spec. The last thing I'm doing now is the little dust covers that go on the sliders for the front calipers. Front caliper, should I say, as I'm only doing the driver's side. But yeah, once the car is all built back up, I'll get a new set of discs and pads and the service kit. Even though I think the last time it was serviced was August last year at Volkswagen, but I rather know it's all done. So I've just been to my local GSF. As you know, previously in the video I installed a second-hand Driveshaft, which obviously doesn't come with a brand new hub nut, as they're a one-time use unit. So now I'm going to get it fitted to the car, taut to spec, then get the wheel bolted on, finally take off the axle stand, and hopefully see if the car drives now. So that's everything now all fitted. So it's time to get the wheel fitted to the car, then off the axle stand, and to see if it will now drive. So that's the Polo now running and driving. So the next video is going to be washing the vehicle first. Like I said, green moss everywhere. I don't fancy fitting new panels. I know they've got to come off to be painted, but I don't fancy fitting new panels to a dirty car. Normally I'll wash them first, but this one obviously I didn't. Yeah, this will be my missus. I would class it as her first car. I bought the IB for January 2019 off COPART for her, which she was learning to drive, and then she passed her test when she was 31 weeks pregnant, end of October this year. So I didn't expect her to drive, as she was high pregnant, and obviously I drive. So the Ibiza is now sold and gone, so I'd class this as her first car. Bodywork, apart from the damage on the front end, very clean car, apart from the passenger front wing. There's a dent here. It's not touched the door, so when the front end gets painted, I'll get this repaired, blown into the doors and the A-pillars. Yeah, that's today's video finished. At least the car now drives, as you can hear the fan's working correctly. So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Plenty more content to come. Thank you for watching, and keep safe.